Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, and welcome to Dev Talks. This is Adi Ajit. As you can see, I have with me Major General Rajiv Narayanan, who will discuss with us today the grand plan of the USA with regards to Pakistan. Something seems to be at play. There is some work which is happening behind the scenes that is not being discussed. We need to piece together and find out what that game is and what is the grand plan of the USA. How is this game going to go forward in the near future? Let's do that. Sir, good evening and welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's been a while. Pleasure to be on your show. And it is very interesting because I'll take the viewers a step back to the late 90s and early 2000 and then see the evolution of what I feel the Americans are doing in West Asia, including Pakistan. Greater West Asia, I will talk of, which includes Pakistan. Okay, so those slides I had shared with you, we'll start from there. So, yeah, redrawing the borders of the Muslim world and what is the final solution for Pakistan, USA's? Will it work? Will it not work? Can we go next? Now, this is the map which shows the present borders as it stands. And I've taken it from a very old article written by Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters of the USA. And he is a Republican. He was part of the project for the New American Century. This was started then of redrawing the borders of the Middle East, blood brothers. He said they're all blood brothers and felt that the Britishers and the French did not draw the line properly and didn't cater for tribal and other loyalties. So let's go next. This is the before, and this what you see is the line that he has created. Redrawn the borders. So when you start from the left, you have whatever is in red, they are losing area. Whatever is in black, they are gaining area. And whatever is in gray, there is no change. Like India, there is no change. Means he doesn't look at POK, which includes Gilgit Baltistan, to be part of India. So let's be clear on that. Turkey loses quite a lot of area. So too does Iran and Syria and Iraq, and you get a Kurdistan. Iraq itself has two parts, Shia state and a Sunni state. So when you see the present day condition in Iraq, of course, Kurdistan is not that huge area as yet, but the Iraqi portion of Kurdistan, the Shia portion of Iraq and the Sunni portion of Iraq are virtually autonomous. They have a fair degree of autonomy. And the only incidents that go on in the Shia portion of Iraq is its other Shia factions who are fighting on how much influence should Iran have on this portion. And just look at it, it is eating into Iran and Saudi Arabia and Kuwait and Qatar on the flanks of the Persian Gulf. Okay. Jordan also becomes big. Israel loses certain portion. Syria loses its coastline as per them, and it becomes a greater Lebanon. That they have not achieved because of Russian intervention. Otherwise, they had almost achieved it when Russians intervened in 2015 with their long-range caliber missiles when they were about to hit Latakia, which is where one of the bases for their Mediterranean fleet. And rest is history. So Syria is where is, Israel is where is, Jordan is where is, Lebanon is
Jordan
where is.
increases a little bit, sir.
Yeah, Jordan increases now, it eats into Saudi area.
Hmm.
It eats into Saudi area. Israel loses a little bit towards Lebanon side, and Lebanon eats up into the Syrian coast. You look at what they're leaving with Saudi. They have cut away Makkah and Medina as Islamic sacred state, which is something like a Vatican but bigger than the Vatican. And that the Saudis will not have control over that.
That's
Yemen,
interesting.
Yemen stays, increases because it takes away certain areas of Saudi Arabia, and you know what is going on in Yemen at the moment. Now you come to our area.
Sir, before
What?
that, there are
Uh,
two questions. One, Israel. सर
yeah.
थोड़ा माइक स्पीकर से कर देंगे, there's an echo, sir. Just
Okay. I'll just bring it closer to me.
हाँ.
Israel essentially is losing towards the north.
It also loses a lot, sir, in terms of the, because the thing is written as pre-67 borders.
Yeah, pre 67 borders, but West Bank, they have not yet decided its status.
ठीक है, okay.
They have not
ठीक है, sir.
decided the status. And
अब बात
it is a question mark over the areas. ये वो कौन सा एरिया है इनका यार, आई एम फॉरगेटिंग द नेम.
Sinai
Sinai Desert. As per them, Sinai will go to the Egyptians.
back again.
Yeah.
ठीक है सर, अब आते हैं
Okay.
हमारी तरफ.
हाँ, अब ये हमारी तरफ आओ तो आप पाकिस्तान को देखो. It is left with Punjab and Sindh, and it retains the tenuous control on that balance portion of POK less Gilgit Baltistan. It loses the area west of Indus to Afghanistan and Balochistan. Balochistan eats into your southern Afghanistan and western Sistan Balochistan, which is the eastern Persian area. But Afghanistan is being given Gilgit Baltistan area.
That is
Okay.
interesting.
Now, this is what is in the paper with PNAC, which when they published it in the American Armed Forces Journal in 2006, they didn't put the map. They
16
just
में
left it. They didn't put the map. They left it in just writing as to why the border should change and all that. Map was not given. This map was in the original document. I got this map and the document in 2004 from the American DA who was in Tajikistan when I was DA in Tajikistan. And then when you look at all these interventions and what all is going on, well,
case by case, sir.
या सारा चल रहा है, सारा चल रहा है. चलो अगला देखते हैं, क्लोजर होम. Now Iraq, the aim mostly has been achieved. अभी थोड़ा फर्म इन होना है. 3 हिस्से तो बढ़ चुके हैं. इराक का टर्की, हाँ, टर्की एंड अदर एरियाज जहां से ईरान, जहां से निकलना है कुर्दिस्तान के लिए, वो बचा हुआ है. बट इराक इज डन. यमन, लेबनान, इजराइल वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस, चल रहा है. ठीक है. पाकिस्तान में मेरे हिसाब से दिस इज द करंट टर्मोइल indicates the start of the process. Economy is totally gone. Politically, it's on a limbo. They don't know what to do. IMF ने तो मना कर दिया है. The question as India we need to take is what is the future of POK? And when I say POK, I include GB also as part of POK. GB is part of POK. It is not a separate area. Okay, so let's look at it slightly deeper. Yeah. Now, when you look at the two maps, when you look at the right map, the mustard area, that is जो orange and mustard area ऊपर northwest is the Gilgit Baltistan. It is split by the Indus River.
जी.
Okay, it is split by the Indus River, and this is the area that they say will go to Afghanistan. Is it good? Should we have a Sharia run state on our borders?
Right on our head.
Yeah, on our head. Okay, so we need to be very careful. Should we share? Next slide.
इसके अंदर एक चीज और इंटरेस्टिंग दिख रही है सर.
हाँ.
ये पाकिस्तान on the top map, the blue area which is there.
Yeah.
That blue area, Islamabad के north में, it literally resembles the Azad Kashmir, so-called what
Yeah,
they
yeah, that
call.
is what I'm saying. Na? Excluding Gilgit Baltistan, the POK area, which they call their Azad Kashmir,
That
it
remains
is
in
that
Pakistan.
strip. It is that just that strip of land which is there with them. And Gilgit Baltistan is being given to them. So, what does this? So, I am least interested what goes on in Iran, Iraq. That's has least interest. This is the most critical that we need to see. Balochistan free ho jata hai, theek hai, it is a distance away from us. This is bang on our borders. So what happens next? So USA is the new player within Pakistan which has emerged very clearly. The way it is controlling, Bajwa went running to him. China, of course, we have discussed its economy threadbare, and we know that it is in a downward, it's in a steep downward spiral. Can't help it. And it seems to be behind this turmoil. As I see it, they are running with the hare and hunting with the hounds. They left all the weapons, and from somewhere, the Taliban is getting sustained for their small arms. अब वो भी हमवी लेके घूम रहे हैं, तो वो हमवी के लिए फ्यूल कहाँ से आ रहा है, उसके स्पेयर्स कहाँ से आ रहे हैं, सस्टेनेंस कैसे हो रहा है, यू आर फायरिंग एमिनिशन, फ्रॉम वेयर आर यू गेटिंग योर एमिनिशन, sourcing your ammunition.
That
Concurrently,
is an interesting point.
Pardon?
That is a very interesting point, sir. Yes. Whatever said and done, Afghanistan is sustaining itself.
Yes. So where is it coming from? Through whom? And from where? And the economic collapse has added to the Pak army's problem. Now today, yesterday the QMG has written to the finance minister that they are running out of funds even to feed their soldiers twice a day. Twice a day, yaar, breakfast की भी बात नहीं कर रहा है वो. That means the soldiers are already down to 2 meals a day. So the question that comes up is the defanging of the Pak army in the works? IMF had laid down very strict strictures that the army's budget has to be slashed, that the 600 million pension from the civil had to be merged with the defense budget, and 1/3 had to be slashed. While the finance minister has started slashing for everybody else and given all the list of what they can do, what they can't do, even for the vehicles, just imagine, which is so clear that it is the Pakistan army which calls the shots, that he has requested the Pakistan army to cut their expenses. Hello, good morning. And you call yourself a democracy? Even the judiciary has been requested to cut their expenses. Hello, where is the funding going to the judiciary from? Okay. Now, I am not, ठीक है, वो हो रहा है, but we should not forget that the funding for the non-state actors will continue because there's a lot of black money through the drug trade which comes in. So just because this budget is getting cut does not mean ISI cannot fund non-state actors. Just look at what is happening in Punjab today. That Amritpal Sidhu, okay, and he's saying Khalistan as an idea cannot go away from Punjab, and it's all funded by him
Mm.
from ISI, and I'm sure George Soros must also be doing it. Now, this has a direct impact on the status of Balochistan, because suddenly now the attacks on Balochistan has become in Balochistan by the Liberation Army has become much more. And what is worrisome is these people have linked up with the TTP and Taliban.
Mm.
So are they in agreement that subsequently when they become free, they will have a Sharia law there? Point to note. Okay. Areas west of Indus, in any case, is going. And so CPEC becomes a big question mark today. Earlier, with China was thinking it is a low-hanging fruit. I think that becomes the old man around Sindbad's neck. Now, CPEC becomes the old man around She's neck. She, the Sindbad's neck. They've committed so much into CPEC now. And interesting issue, which I have not placed here, is there is a growing movement both within POK and Gilgit Baltistan to merge with India. They don't want to stay with Pakistan. They want to merge with India.
We'll discuss
Next.
that in a little detail later, sir.
या नेक्स्ट नहीं वो नेक्स्ट स्लाइड में भी है ना अभी.
बट मेरे को आपको यहाँ पर थोड़ा रोकना है, सर.
हाँ बोलो.
I want to dig into this IAEA thoda sa and Rothschilds. Now, IAEA, why, sir? What is the need for the Atomic Energy Commissioner to come there?
If you go back to when the Soviet Union broke apart, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, when they gave away their nuclear weapons, it was under the umbrella of IAEA. IAEA going into Pakistan has no other meaning other than warheads, because Pakistan does not use its nuclear reactors for hardly any. It doesn't use. It's not the basic power generating asset that it has.
एक है, but वो Chinese का है, वो तो that's it.
हाँ वो NFA. बाकी उनका जितना कुछ है Kahuta and all these places, it's essentially to create weapons.
दो है ना सर उनके पास, एक प्लूटोनियम एंड एक
हाँ 4 तो कहुटा में ही है और एक कानुक भी है इनका. So all these they are not using more for civilian energy use. They are using it more for generating the uranium and plutonium. I see it quite ridiculous. There's so much of energy that is generated, they can use it. So IAEA could have had 2 levels of you could say discussion. One was how to remove their warheads, because sustaining the warheads also costs a lot of money. It's not cheap. So IMF has just refused now. Latest I was listening to them, they are not giving them any money till the army is not brought on board and their budget and all is not slashed and the judiciary's budget and all are not slashed. So they're not interested in the civil budget, which they are saying. The second aspect, there are a lot of voices also coming up in the civil streets, and a lot of their religious leaders and politicians from the religious parties are pointing fingers at what they, in their language, they call it Asharfiye. Asharfi in Persian means the gold coin, which in olden days used to be the costliest money that was there, gold coin, Asharfi. Their use of, in Urdu, the word Asharfiye is for the elite. Asharfiye, they call them. That is the elite. That the elite is taking all the money, and he was pointing out to all the land and everything which is held by these people, the Lahore Club, the Islamabad Club, and all these, which is government land given to them free, and they
Wow.
don't permit anybody else other than them to go there. So and they don't pay any tax, they don't do anything. So, and all the government and the military fuel, the civil vehicle which is owned by all these people is free. They get tokens to buy fuel, and that's it. It's all free. Nobody pays for it. The government, and it just goes. So, and coupled with this, you find the State Department visit, and link it to our own NSA's visit to US. All these were going on concurrently with our own NSA visiting USA. Was these discussed? I'm sure they would have discussed. So, the next slide, Lord Shields is a Jew, yeah.
ये यार,
आप तो इतने घुटने टिक गए हैं कि आप जू से पैसे ले रहे हो.
ये तो मतलब वो इनके उनके I mean, I hate saying this, but इनका वो होता है ना सर, यहूद and I don't know what.
Yeah, they're so anti-Israel and anti-Jews, and you go ready to take money from him. How are you going to pay back the money? चाइना का भी तो यही हो रहा है ना, पैसे ही नहीं आ रहे. Like for example, Iran has said, okay, we'll do trade in yuan, but they have refused to do trade in yuan for the fuel. They still want the dollars from them because they don't trust the yuan.
Civil trade they're doing, but not the
Yeah,
oil.
not oil trade, and which the Chinese are miffed. Very miffed. Okay, can we go to the next slide?
Rothschild's kind of,
Yeah,
it's amazing, sir.
and he's a private banker, yeah.
Private banker who owns military bases around the world, sir.
Yeah. Now, as I had brought out, India, Pakistan, China, and now US are the main players. I say Pakistan, China, because Gilgit Baltistan has presence of PA. That's a known thing. Even while I was in service, it had come in, and it's a known thing that they are present there, because that is very critical for him for CPEC. After passing through that, only it goes into Pakistan. Now the question is, should GB be an independent state or be part of India, or only part of it be part of India and the balance with Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan? Have we considered security challenges in each of these cases? My concern is, if I allow it to be independent, it becomes a buffer between IEA and ourselves. Sharia. Otherwise, you have a state which runs Sharia on your borders. What happens to the balance of POK? With India or Pakistan? I would prefer with India, and split it into two parts. Muzaffarabad and upper area merge with the should be with Kashmir area, and the balance below comes to the Jammu area, because a lot of politicians of that area whom I hear on YouTube and other channels want the whole of POK to be with the Jammu region. They don't want it to be with the Kashmir region. But we need to look at this also, because it doesn't make sense that sliver on top. But the concern why they would have given it is to give depth to Islamabad from us. If this POK comes to you, Kahuta is on the border, virtually.
Islamabad is on the border.
And Islamabad is just 50 kilometers from you.
But इस map में एक चीज, I don't know where Abbottabad falls.
Abbottabad is just north of, it's not in POK, it's on the flank, but it's also next door. All these areas that they have, key military areas that they have, comes right next, close to your borders. within
True.
your artillery range.
You
Medium
just had to
artillery.
mention that, no, sir?
Within your medium artillery range. Even Rawalpindi is within your your medium artillery range. That becomes, so maybe that is the reason why, because after all, for so many decades, these people had been dealing with Pakistan. I feel that would have come into their assessment when they gave that sliver, left that sliver with Pakistan to give, while they were looking all the while for depth, strategic depth in Afghanistan. He is giving some depth to Kahuta and Rawalpindi and Islamabad by leaving that, but it makes no sense. That should come back. We need to work on, are we okay with GB with us? They have to, the NSA has his team in NSCS, and they should do a net assessment and do an assessment that should GB be with us in such a situation. It's not necessary, it may happen overnight. Maybe after 10-15 years, this might emerge. So if you have done your net assessment and you're very clear, so you can be very clear on your basic hedging tactics that you need to follow, the basic tactics, the hedging tactics, and which is your core tactic strategy, not tactics, strategy, I stand corrected. Your hedging strategy, your basic strategy, and what should be your core strategy to take it further if you want a particular thing to happen with Gilgit Baltistan. So that net assessment needs to be done. The next point is, should Pakistan get Sindh?
Why?
Should we give him Sindh, or let it be an independent state in itself? The reason I say for Sindh is, if it is independent, then again you get a buffer with Balochistan. Because my concern is, if Balochistan has done the deal, it's not necessary that they become Sharia state, but will they? And what is the size of this Balochistan? With only areas of POK and IEA, or Iran also? IEA is Afghanistan.
Afghanistan.
Or only POK to start with, and then see what happens with the balance? Would they be amenable? Because after all, the gad of Taliban is Kandahar, not Kabul. Quetta, Kandahar. So Kandahar is the heart of your Taliban, and that is why when he was sidelined, Mullah Baradar went off to Kandahar. Kandahar is the
Kandahar.
gad, and then south, immediately south, all that area goes to Balochistan. Will Afghanistan be amenable to that? And after all, Quetta and all that is going into Balochistan. Those are the areas which are the base of Taliban.
Quetta, Karachi, pura.
Yeah, so Karachi में उतना नहीं है, Quetta and Kandahar, and other side is Peshawar. Peshawar is more with Haqqani now, but balance to इनका ये है. तो while the US may have started, we need to look at these issues for ourselves, because this comes in under the overarching concept of regional security. And just because they are following a particular paper and trying to do certain things, it is going to upset the regional security, and we need to get our things in place. Because like I said, we need a buffer from a Sharia IEA, that is Afghanistan, and do an overall net assessment based on these to see which are the options that we look at. Don't look at one. Which are the options which enhances and improves our security? Which is the best? Which is the second best? And then you start strategizing your basic hedging and core strategies to aim for it, to achieve that. You can't be a bystander. I'm sorry, if you're saying that you have a rising power, you are the voice and you are everything, then you can't be a bystander in this. I'm sorry. I don't subscribe to that. You can't be a bystander. You got to start orchestrating the security scenario in your region yourself now. अरे इतने सारे सब कंट्रीज के लिए आपने तो बजट में पैसे दे रखे हैं. Get the value for the budget money that you have budgeted here. Right. So I
So
think,
there are two things I want to ask you before I take this off. One is
yeah,
with this map. Now,
yeah,
I mean, I'm also going to throw a little bit of a this thing, and you can blatantly push me wrong. But there are two arches, which are coming across in Asia, if I may, loosely, Middle East Asia sort of thing. This first arch is Israel to India,
yeah.
and the guys in the middle. And then the second arch is from India to Japan, and the guys in the middle.
Okay.
ठीक है sir. Now, if you look at it from the USA's perspective, anything between these two arches need to change.
You are the
You are going to be the central
what
this
he
thing.
looks at. No, no. What he is looked at is over these years. Whatever we may say about our democracy, up, down, people use whatever language, stable.
He can't do without
You
you,
have
sir.
been you have been a stable country in this region. Now, whether you look at Myanmar and other areas, Myanmar has always been not very strong. And ASEAN, see, if you don't have a military and you try to be economically strong, then you get caught between the devil and the deep sea when two big, strong powers come on opposite sides. So you have China on one flank and you have the Anglo-Saxon grouping on the other flank.
Other,
Where do you go? And in the Anglo-Saxon grouping also it is mainly USA. So where do you go? So all these countries have always been looking at India to be a balancing power as a hedge all through. Whatever they may say, ki, nahi, you're not economically strong, you're not this, you're not that. They know that these countries cannot ruffle India's feathers. They need, and as you have developed economically further, now they need you more, primarily because of the huge market, and your people are ready to buy things, spend. Like our own budget, our own revenue, when we look at our overall finances, this thing, whatever you earn, export is just about 35 to 40%. Rest is all internal consumption. So look at the size. You are huge, touching 1.5 billion. And if I take 60% of that is 900 million people who are ready to spend. That's the market. You cannot afford to lose this. So today your strength, economic and your military strength is enormous in this area, in this region. It cannot be wished away. Even China cannot wish it away. Because last one of the South China Morning Post I was reading, they're telling that their actual population is only 1.285 billion today.
sir, interjection, but I calculated 1.23 billion last year in October.
Good.
On a show, I had done a calculation. Ki
Yeah,
this
so
is what it
you're
is.
very close. Now, the problem with China is only about 20 to 30% is their internal consumption. So आप चलो मैं कहता हूं 1.4 भी रख लो उसका बिलियन. 1.4 ले लो ना. 1.4 multiplied by 0.3, 420 million. Compare it to 900 million. You have double the market of China here. Yeah? Because the people are not spending. Na? He's giving money. He's giving money now.
Handouts there as well.
Billion of this thing handouts. But their economists who are writing in South China Morning Post and other are saying that people are not going to spend because they don't have jobs, so they're going to keep the money with themselves for a rainy day when they will need the money. तो खर्चा नहीं हो रहा ना, तो look at the who has a bigger market. You have double his market. Why do you think everybody is running for you? This is the reason, because you have double the market than him today. Now that you have that, we must use, and you have an economic heft, you have a military heft, you have a diplomatic heft, so you must use it smartly. This is what is smart power. And you
Hard
have to
part,
use it.
soft part, smart part.
Yeah, you have to use your smart power now effectively to make sure that you can orchestrate the regional security based on what you feel will be good for the regional security and for your security. So for that, the NSA, they have in the office of NSCS, they have a net assessment, office of net assessment, they must do this net assessment to quickly and to find out what should be our strategy, how should we go about it, what should we do. ये होगा अगले 5-10 साल के अंदर, ये कुछ ना कुछ निकल के आएगा, टूटेगा पाकिस्तान, आज नहीं टूटेगा. But the moment the money is not available with the army, how will the army function यार? किसको क्या करेगा फिर उसके बाद?
चलिए, मैं आपसे एक और अभी थोड़ा सा सिनेरियो एक छोटा सा बिल्ड करता हूँ सर. Take 2-3 minutes of a comment and we'll get into the questions. Guys, start shooting your questions in so that we can, take them up. I'm just going to ask a chota sa scenario build and allow me to, structure it for you, sir. You mentioned Victoria Nuland was here, Rothschild there, IAEA. Okay, so let's take that. Ajit Doval went to USA. After that, he went
Victoria Nuland, just before Rothschild came, along with IAEA, their assistant secretary, I think deputy assistant secretary or assistant secretary of state for South Asia was there with IAEA.
Okay, so this is okay. Now, there is a wink, wink, nudge, nudge sort of a thing from USA towards Pakistan to you anti-terrorism, no problem. We'll look the other way. Here are some F-16 spares. Don't worry. We are with you. Any attack, we are with you. We condemn these violence. We will look the other way. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I mean, Pakistan knows that's very fire. अंदर घुसेगा तो गया. वो तो गया चाइना को लेके डूबेगा वो साथ में. So that is I would say a hypothesis, factor number 1 pinned in the wall. All these visits are happening, sir. Doval Saab goes to US, then he goes to UK, and then straight to Russia. Now a lot of people are saying, भाई, Russia का इसमें क्या गेम है? ये वापस आता है, WMC meeting is happening, and it seems internal this thing is there. It was a very polite and very receptive meeting. There is also another news that another senior diplomat from the Defense Department of China is going to come in India आ रहा है वो बातें करने के लिए कि चलो अब I don't know what the intention is there. It seems like no matter what it is, there is a full link of communication which has already been created.
All around. बिल्कुल.
चारों तरफ से.
WMCC के लेवल में ये डिस्कस नहीं हुआ.
सर ये ना हुआ हो सर. मान गया.
WMCC is at a joint secretary level.
Correct. सर कवर भी तो होता है ना.
It's a working mechanism.
कवर भी तो होता है ना.
So basically border issue would have been covered. China is feeling the pinch.
ठीक है. Now the border issue will also be shakhs kam. Will also be. हाँ.
आएगा.
That is what I'm coming to, sir. Is this
but
now?
अभी डिस्कस नहीं किया. Shakhs is at a later date. That is where I said, no, you got to decide what do you do with Gilgit Baltistan.
Is that discussion happening, sir?
Yeah. Do you take it? वो Chinese के साथ discuss नहीं हो. The moment Gilgit Baltistan comes to you, if you take it, Then the Shaksgam thing opens up because the treaty in 63, they said that the final status will be decided once the issue of JNK is resolved
Resolved.
with whoever gets the state of JNK. So the moment GB comes, if you take the GB, if you feel that GB should be with me, you take GB, then automatically the Shaksgam thing comes in and that comes to you. Okay.
I find if that is the case, and I'm sure the Chinese are not stupid, they would have read this stuff.
We
I
will.
don't know.
That's why I said you have to do the. That's why I said you have to do your net assessment, because all these issues get discussed when you do a net assessment. Complete net assessment has to be done. Environment scan. Who will be interested? क्या कर सकता है? क्या नहीं हो सकता है? What could happen? What could not happen? पूरा assessment करने के बाद you have to take a call कि मैंने गिलगिट बाल्टिस्तान के साथ क्या करना, ये करना जरूरी है. इसके बगैर आप क्या स्ट्रैटेजी करोगे? देन यू विल बी कि भाई जो हो रहा है हो जाए, उसके बाद वी विल सी. ऐसे थोड़ी
नहीं
आप, यू कांट बी अ राइजिंग पावर एंड से आई
नहीं
एम
नहीं
द
नहीं।
वॉइस ऑफ द ग्लोबल साउथ विदाउट डूइंग ऑल दिस. नो, यू कांट.
और वहां पर अफगानिस्तान को भी आपने सेट करके रखा हुआ है, वैसी बात नहीं है।
यप, बिल्कुल. सो आर यू कंफर्टेबल? बिकॉज मोमेंट यू टेक गिलगिट बाल्टिस्तान, वाखान कॉरिडोर आपके साथ. Okay, then you will not worry about land link to Central Asia via them. You can go via the Wakhan corridor. Okay, yes, it will take effort. It's not easy. It will take effort. There are passes available there. People have trekked and gone across. पुराने आपके caravans भी जाते थे. So it will take effort to make those roads.
हो जाएगा सर।
You make those roads and you will be through. From the moment you get into the Wakhan corridor, there's a beautiful highway that is already made. And moment you get to Kunduz, Mazar-e-Sharif, Kunduz se beautiful highway connecting to Tajikistan. Mazar-e-Sharif se you are into Uzbekistan through the Friendship Bridge. So your connectivity is through. Land connectivity gets through. So that is one advantage you will get. And the Chinese will be most worried because through Wakhan corridor and other areas, you get a land connectivity to all their mines and other things. Copper mines and other mines, Ainak
Done.
mines and all, you get the access.
We will
So
talk.
these are
I'm
the
sure.
economic issues. That's why I said you have to balance your economic issues and other security issues. क्या क्या निकलता है, net assessment करके आपको ये strategize करके play the game and get it. Do what you feel would be best for India. I'm just throwing things that what positives could happen.
You know what we will do is we will talk about Afghanistan. I'm sure इतने सारे comments ऐसा somebody would have mentioned Afghanistan and उसमें एक सवाल मेरा भी आपसे आएगा. You know what I'm already talking about. आपको पता है हम लोग कल काफी टाइम इसके बारे में बात कर रहे थे. So we will let's get into some questions and देखते हैं sir what people feel about this thing and how does it come across. So first one, thanks Kunal for your contribution. He says Gilgit-Baltistan will never be a buffer state. It will be overwhelmed by Sharia-driven ideology and challenge Indian Kashmiri's peace and prosperity.
Kunal, that's fine. That's your perspective. But today the groundswell is to join up with India. And if and they are, by the way, they are not. They are Shias. They're not Sunnis. It's Sunnis who have Sharia, not Shias.
I was about to say that actually, but
So
you
it's a
know,
Shia predominant. And
but
by the way, I participated, like I said last time, I am a war veteran. I participated in the Op Vijay. Dras Kargil area, again, Shia predominant.
yes.
That's the link you will get. Oh, if Gilgit Baltistan comes in with us, the issue is they'll be with Ladakh. It's not going to be linked to Kashmir. We have already separated the two states.
Balti language and Gilgiti language is more akin to Ladakh. That
Ladakh,
the
yes.
culture of that place is
That
more
area,
akin to Ladakh.
so that area is will be part of Ladakh, and it is POK that will be part of JNK.
Done. Before I move on to the next question, guys, there are close to 300 people watching. I want all of you, my humble request to all of you, please just touch the like button. These kind of videos need to go viral. People need to see this over and over again because these are timeless videos. This is not about a, this thing. It's about the larger understanding of what's happening around us. Like the video, subscribe. If you've a lot of new faces again, I'm grateful. Please, subscribe and check the notifications so that you get. We are running into the weekends. Of course, there's going to be multiple shows. Please do watch and keep a track. If you can, do help out the DevTalks efforts. The QR code is above right here, or join for a member, or the thanks button in your chat box. Thanks so much. Let's get into the questions. Waman says, can Pakistan sell its nukes to Gulf countries? Will USA allow? And how independent is Pakistan's nuclear weapons? Can Pakistan threaten USA to sell its nukes for dollars?
These are all, as I would say, हाथी के दांत दिखाने की और खाने की ओर. उनका तो चाय वाला भी बोलता है, पान वाला भी बोलता है न्यूक्लियर वेपन है. Who will buy? The security of the Gulf state is provided by the Americans. This was the deal done in 1973 with Nixon for petrodollars. All their money is there in US. Freeze हो जाएगा सारा पैसा, फक्कड़ हो जाएंगे. Most of their money is there, and all their banks will be blacklisted. They won't be able to deal with anything. So what will they do? They'll eat the atom bombs like what Pakistanis are going to do now. But चलो पाकिस्तान में तो घास उगता है, गल्फ में तो घास भी नहीं उगता, रेत खाएंगे. They won't do that. They are going down a different path quietly. Like Saudi Arabia is in talks with China to help set up a nuclear reactor for them,
Yeah.
hoping that the Americans will agree and come there. So they are going down that path. I don't think it's okay. It's bluster, I would call it, that we'll sell our nuclear weapons. You just can't. It's not a Walmart, yeah. You go and sell your nuclear weapon. कि ले लो 10 का एक 10 का एक
90s
5
में
ले लो एक free. It's not a war.
90s में कर दिया था almost इन लोगों ने. There was a huge cover up that happened.
No,
90s
that was for the parts and other things. They had
no, no,
opened
no,
a
sir.
black market.
No. That Seymour Hersh, if you believe Seymour Hersh, I mean,
Ah,
sometimes he's a little wild, but he said that there's been a huge WMT cover up, late 90s, early 2000s in Pakistan. Huge one. So, God knows.
तो वो तो चाइनीज ने लाके दिया होगा ना, उसी का कवर अप किया होगा ना. Quite a lot of their warheads initially which had come there are the Chinese warheads.
Let's see, sir.
What the Chinese had done was they gave the nuclear know-how to the Pakistanis and the missile know-how to the North Koreans. And the huge cover up was when they took the nuclear warhead from Pakistan to North Korea. This was taken in the military plane in which Benazir Bhutto had gone to. Yeah, and she carried that and she brought back the missile parts in that for the missile technology. You must
tech in
be
a
talking
city.
of that cover up.
नहीं सर एक और I mean I haven't read that entire thing. It's a 10,000 word article मैं शाम को पढ़ रहा था. But he says there's been a WND cover up. So
वो तो यही है. There used to be the traffic of weapons being given there, people going there, Chinese coming here. Initial warheads also had been brought because उनके 60s के थे, खत्म हो रहे थे life, so they brought it here, taught them how to extend the life and gave it to them. And then the Chinese scientists are all were also located here and generator. अब AQ Khan को तुम बोल दो कि he was the father of Pak nuke. He was a metallurgist here. He was not a nuclear scientist. He was a
what do you know
metallurgist.
about nuclear science? I don't know.
He stole the designs of centrifuge.
The centrifuge. Yeah.
That is what he
Who will control Pakistan? Either USA or China.
did. USA डाउट कहाँ है? वो तो अब घुटने टेक के खड़ा हो गया यूएसए के सामने. डीप स्टेट तो यूएसए ही ओनली यार. और किसके पास है? चाइना के पास तो पैसे नहीं है. He is asking in billions. Even people are crying, like some of their economists in Dawn, Pakistan are saying, "ये 1 billion से भी what will we do? We need more." Pakistan, China is saying, I will give you 700 million. 700 million से क्या करेगा यार? उसको तो 2 दिन में खत्म हो जाएगा 700 million.
What is the definition of a national army? Is Pakistani army, which is 70% ethnic Punjabi Muslim, can be considered as a national army?
Oh, I'm sorry, Pakistan army is not a national army. Pakistani army is an independent army which controls a landmass which is Pakistan.
I knew that
तो
was coming,
इसमें
sir.
कोई
That's why I was smiling.
इसमें कोई नेशनल आर्मी ये नहीं है. दे डोंट स्वेयर बाय द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन और एनीथिंग. वो सब बकवास है.
They don't.
दे कंट्रोल एवरीथिंग इन पाकिस्तान, पीरियड. देख लो, उनके फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर में हिम्मत नहीं है बजट, पाकिस्तान में आर्मी के बजट काटने के लिए. चीफ को रिक्वेस्ट भेजा है कि प्लीज अपने एक्सपेंसेस कम कर दीजिए और बताइए क्या कम कर सकते हो. ऐसा कोई, सो दैट्स नॉट, it is not the army of a Pakistan, of a nation. It is independent, and yes, it is controlled by the Punjabis. Just to go in a little bit history, Pakistan Punjab never supported formation of Pakistan. By the way, the Muslim League never won there.
Yep.
It was the vision of the Muslims of UP, which used to be the central provinces, united provinces rather, UP and Bihar.
Yeah.
ये सारे गए. Initially they made Karachi the capital. Why was Karachi made the capital? In 47, Karachi was richer than Bombay. That was the main harbor for India. Bombay was the secondary harbor.
Yes.
Who controlled it? All the Sindhis and Hindus.
Parsis.
That was declared by Jinnah, not Lahore. Lahore had a Muslim predominance. Lahore was not made the capital. Karachi was made the capital just to throw out the Hindus and capture their trade and money. And all these people who came, they were based there. They became Muhajirs. And in any case, there are Western command headquarters of the British Indian Army used to be based in Rawalpindi, because they had to control the wild borders, the Fatah and all these areas, Afghans. My unit also was deployed in the 30s out there. The Rawalpindi was the command headquarters. So army ke valle valle ho gaye. See, the other part is entire governing structure was based in India. Pakistan had no central governing structure. They had provinces and they reported to Shimla and then of course Delhi. Delhi in summers, Shimla in winters, earlier Calcutta. So your central structure which was based in Delhi, you had a governance structure which was there for every state. They didn't have. But the Western Command, Army headquarters, had the governance structure because it controlled the troops and police. In police also, the Britishers ke time mein police also used to be controlled. So they had control over everything.
Yeah, yeah.
My own unit officer, who left after 10 years and joined as a political agent in the Fatah and other regions, Iskandar Mirza. He's ex my unit.
क्या बात कर रहे हो सर?
बिल्कुल. After 10 years, there was an option to shift into the civil service, and he was a political agent. And he and Ayub were the ones masterminded after Jinnah died, ensuring that this chap, unka wo kya naam tha, M se unka prime minister, he was murdered. And then Iskandar Mirza with Ayub, M se Mustafa something, M se naam tha, I'm forgetting, naam yaad aayega. And Iskandar Mirza along with Ayub did all the shenanigans. Iskandar Mirza was placed as the president. And then, of course, the coup took place. Ayub was the main mastermind behind. He didn't like what Iskandar Mirza was doing and coup kar diya. And rest is history. So, Pakistan Army का ये फायदा था उनको कि they had the structure and उसके they never let the bureaucracy and the politicians take control. They ruled at the behest of the Pakistan army. So there is no nationalism within them. They are they run those Fauji foundations and everything. Ayesha Siddiqiya का वो किताब पढ़िए आप, मिलिट्री इनकॉर्पोरेशन, पूरा डिटेल में होगा, वो अभी भी चलता है,
सेम है, enhanced version
पूरा
actually.
सेम है. एंड मजे करते हैं वो, वोम टू टोम. फौज से रिटायर हुए, वहां पे नौकरी मिल गई उनको, फौजी फाउंडेशन, डीएचए, सब जगह, ऊपर से नीचे. पेंशन भी लेते हो, वहां से भी पैसे लेते हो, वो पैसे आप गवर्नमेंट को देते नहीं हो.
Yeah. We have seen protests in Pakistan and POGB
Yeah,
saying
I
that
was
we want
telling
to.
the same
Yeah.
thing in my talk. There are protests. Yes, protests are there. But like I said, do a net assessment, a detailed net assessment. NSCS has the office of net assessment with them now for the last 5 6 years. Do that at that level and assess what are the implications for these, and then take it forward accordingly based on the assessment. ऐसे ही आंख मीच के कि just because they say they want to come, so you have to take a call based on
Yeah.
that.
Does US know the Pakistani army nuke secrets via the retired generals settled in the West?
तो सब कुछ पता है यार. They would know exactly the locations also.
By the way, if I may, the US actually helps the Pakistanis secure these bombs. And there's a good old saying in Pakistan that you can secure all of them, but the two lying in the tall grass fields next to the runway can't be secured. So they always
See,
hide a little bit.
the so हमारे पास भी है, चिंता क्यों करते हो?
Flats in DHA Lahore are swanky.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
I saw photographs of.
Huge.
They look like Chhatarpur farms and all that in Delhi,
Yeah, बहुत rich, यानी they are flowing in money. And Pakistan is a feudal area. So most of these officers, in one of my talks, if you go back, you will find I had given the kind of land that they get,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
goes from Jawan right up to a chief. And it is cumulative. Every promotion you get. And either you get prime agriculture land or prime, you can exchange it for prime land in the metro cities. And massive swanky houses.
Why would the Rothschild lend money when there's no chance of Pakistan returning the money?
Soch lo, what will they take? Why do you think IAEA was there? चाहिए तो वो दो. So that would be bought off. And
Just add on question as a, so it's like a on the line, so we'll just take this up. uh,
yeah,
like the
yeah, yeah.
strategy conceived 20 years ago, would there be a counter strategy that many countries who would want some other arrangements, like India, we want a different grouping from this? To add, sir, what is the update to this particular policy? Because the US एक बार ही वो बना लेते हैं policy कि ये करना है, they bloody stick to it.
उन्होंने कोई चेंज नहीं किया इस पे. And you can see wherever things have to happen that are happening
They are happening.
as per that map in the Middle East. I have not
Exactly.
yet. I am trying to see for North Africa. I have not got it as yet. I hope to get it in some time. Let us see. But Middle East में आप देख लो, जहां जहां लूज होना है, कुछ ना कुछ होना है, वहां तो उंगली कर गए, लड़ाई छिड़ी हुई है. लेबनान ले लो, सीरिया ले लो, यूक्रेन तो दैट्स अ डिफरेंट इशू. देन ईरान के इर्द गिर्द लड़ाई चल रही है, यमन में लड़ाई चल रहा है. व्हाट हैपेंस इन सऊदी अरेबिया, वो इसीलिए डरे हुए हैं क्या होता है. तो यूएई हैज बीन स्मार्टर, इसलिए I2U2 में कूद के उसने ज्वाइन कर लिया. बट इजराइल ऑल्सो हैज टू सी व्हाट हैपेंस. दे लूज द साइनाई, which is had been a huge buffer for them from the Middle East side. Then Palestinian का तो कहीं नाम ही नहीं है.
True, sir.
So what happens to Palestine? If Sinai goes away, then what happens to Gaza Strip? गाजा में इतने सारे हमास हैं, उनका क्या होता है?
खत्म.
So
जूस
you
बन जाएगा
see,
सबका.
that's why I said it is not going to happen overnight. It would
Yeah.
take a while. May not be exactly what they want, but they have shown. Like I'm not interested, least interested कि वो Palestine में क्या होता है, Israel में क्या होता है, क्या
True.
कहाँ नहीं
True.
होता है.
Mm.
I'm more concerned in my immediate neighborhood and a threat to my security. And that is where Gilgit, Baltistan, and POK come into play. And what should happen to Sindh? What should we look at in Balochistan? These are things which are in our neighborhood. How do we manage Afghanistan? ये हमारे नेबरहुड में है. हमको ये नेट असेसमेंट करके वी हैव टू डिसाइड व्हाट इज आवर basic hedging and the core strategies that we need to follow.
If we get Gilgit Baltistan, it has now got a lot of their ex 4G, so we have another headache on our head.
उनको तो फेंक देंगे. They'll all be asked to vacate. Why should we keep them? Pakistan has been trying. Even in POK, there'll be a lot of ex-Faujis. They have given land to them there to change the demographics. They'll all be kicked out here. I have no doubts. If POK and GB come to us, all the Pakistani ex-Faujis will be booted out from them.
Mm.
And the first person to be eliminated will be Sayyid Salahuddin. Now, Abhi FATF will be taking notice. He's based in Lahore, and he
क्या
openly
है
came out for.
FATF? It's a
Then
joke.
he openly came out for the funeral of one of the terrorists.
Yeah. Hafiz
And
Saeed
Pakistan was saying he's
gave
not
a
in Pakistan.
Hafiz Saeed came out and said gave such a big speech, sir, about this water thing.
Yeah, but ये नहीं. सैयद सलाउद्दीन का तो इज अ वांटेड मैन इन इंडिया. एफएटीएफ को बोल दिया इज नॉट देयर. वो तो खुल के आ गया सामने.
आराम से घूम रहा हूँ.
So all these people will be thrown out from that place. They will not be permitted to be there. I must tell you one anecdote.
Sir,
This happened, I think, 90s में हुआ था. And joint team had gone, and our diplomats from Pakistan and from the UN, our own diplomats had also come with the team. When the shelling and all used to be going on in the 90s, and a lot of people started talking about we are Kashmiris and we have been living here for so long and we have been firing and all. But that person noticed that these people were talking in Punjabi. So he started talking in Kashmiri. They didn't understand. So he told the UN, what are you talking? These Pakistanis have brought fraud. They're all Punjabis. They're not Kashmiri. They don't understand Kashmiri. I'm a Kashmiri. I'm talking in Kashmiri. They don't comprehend. So what are you telling me that these are Kashmiris who have run away? They're not Kashmiris. They're Punjabis.
you won't find
मामला
one.
वहीं पे खत्म हो गया, and the UN group had to go back. ऐसा भी होता है.
Can you imagine, sir?
That is why I said these are the challenges you're going to face if you're going to pick up POK and GB with you. So your net assessment and what all you need to do, you have to have clarity कि क्या करना है आपने if you want them with you. So this is what I say.
BLS expect as Amirul Mominin. That means it'll be a Sharia state.
You don't know. With any of these people, you don't know. Because they are getting support from them to sort out the Pakistan military. तो वो तो क्या, वो तो जरूरत पड़ेगी तो वो तो गधे को भी बाप बना लेगा यार. Look at what Taliban did. Prime example. Throughout they supported Pakistan. They went there and जूते मार रहे हैं पाकिस्तान को. Thank you. So it is, like I said, always it is national interest. So Balochistan's interest at the moment lies in aligning with the Taliban and TTP because they'll help them fight
Fight.
the Pak military. What happens when they become a state? That we need to make an assessment. They could become a Sharia. That was my first point. They could become a Sharia, then, or they could not be. So now, since we are budgeting money, in our budget, we have budgeted for various countries. And I'm sure at some point in time, we'll start budgeting for Balochistan also. We need to take a call
Where do we
that
want it to go?
on what basis will be providing the money.
So,
Okay.
so Jan Shankar always says that Gilgit Baltistan POK issue is a political solution and not a military one.
So
Yet most of our rhetoric is based upon taking it via military means. I don't agree with that. The rhetoric is more like a populist thing. Indian army चढ़ जाएगी, ये कर देंगे, वो
I
सब.
have not even have I discussed military going in. This is the restructuring which US military and US is doing for you here. Your military is not going there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Why should I
Apart from
go
that,
there?
I really want to mention, guys. This whole military rhetoric of it is basically, these. I don't want to say this, but these con artists that are actually talking about this kind of stuff, they have no
In
sense of
my
reality.
talk, abhi, have I mentioned militarily going in? No. There is a groundswell. It's not just political, it is socio-political. It's
Indeed.
socio-political. Just politically, if the political leaders want to join you, if the people are not with them, then it achieves nothing. It has to be a socio-political, it has to be a popular movement, which is what is being seen in the groundswell in GB and in POK. But my concern is, let us do a net assessment and see that is it worthwhile, or I feel it would be worthwhile. So let's see. A net assessment will give you a much better it's a process to do your whole assessment.
Correct, sir. Sir, he says, now this is what, I mean, I put this out because I want to talk about Afghanistan.
The
And what
dollars
is
नहीं
the.
छोड़े थे, weapons छोड़े, their money is still frozen.
नहीं नहीं, डॉलर छोड़ दो सर, मेरे को वेपन्स इन अफगानिस्तान की बात करनी है, जो इतने
Oh,
वेपन
but
छोड़ के गए हैं.
almost about
क्यों?
huge amount of weapons. इसी के लिए ना
Why?
चाहिए ना लड़ने के लिए
किससे सर?
पाकिस्तान, पख्तूनिस्तान बनाना है ना. अब ये जो नक्शा मैंने दिया था, why will US place his boots there? All this, like BLA has been brought up. So Free Baluchistan में BLA है. He is joined up with Afghanistan. अफगानिस्तान में आपने सारा कुछ छोड़ दिया है. You have frozen the money, but I'm sure उस पैसे से कहीं ना कहीं से तो sustenance उसको आ रहा है. And he is looking at getting them across right up to the shores of Indus River.
Yeah.
अब वो लड़ेंगे ना, लड़ने दो उनको. उसमें चुपचाप से अगर गिलगिट बाल्टिस्तान के फौज को भी वहां पे कोई ना कोई खड़ा हो जाता है, पाकिस्तानियों को फेंक देता है वहां से, एंड दे से दैट वी वांट टू कम टू यू, इट सेव्स यू सो मच ऑफ मनी इन मेंटेनिंग योर सियाचिन. और
That is there, sir.
पाकिस्तान का पूरा फ्लैंक टर्न हो जाएगा, और चाइना भी रो पड़ेगा, बिकॉज इन ईस्टर्न लद्दाख यू विल हैव मोर ट्रूप्स अवेलेबल फॉर डिप्लॉयमेंट. So it so these are just back of the envelope I'm saying. That's why I keep repeating, pardon me, ad nauseum, net assessment, net assessment, net assessment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No question, sir. Regarding the sharing border with Sharia IEA, cannot the Tajiks be made to move in and take the Wakhan corridor so that we don't share a border with IEA?
ट्रूप्स कहाँ है उनके पास यार? पॉपुलेशन ही नहीं है. I've been
Very
there.
far.
गोरनो बदख्शान में कोई पॉपुलेशन ही नहीं है यार. You get out of their towns, you drive for quite a long time, you won't see villages, chote, not much of a population. And it's totally sustained by the 201 motorized. The security is provided by the Russian border guards, and they have Tajik border guards, but each main Russian border guards hai, and 201 motorized brigade, which is now their base, Russian military base, and the air assets which are there with them. That is what is sustaining their security here. And the 201 was sent here for rest and recoup from Leningrad, where they fought very well and assisted in breaking the siege
German.
of Leningrad. And so they were made heroes, and they were sent here for rest and recruit, because they suffered quite a lot of casualties there. And tab se 40s say they have stayed in Tajikistan, and they have helped in developing, constructing Dushanbe capital. Dushanbe means it was a Monday market हाट लगता था वहाँ पे, वही था. It was a small village.
This is
So
funny, sir. A lot of people think that these Central Asian countries are fully independent and this and that
नहीं नहीं नहीं. The complete airspace is controlled by Russia.
by Russia.
There is a regional airbase, air control center which has been placed in Kazakhstan. They can't survive. There's a huge military base in Kyrgyzstan, Kant military base.
Um,
They can't survive. They have nothing. They have hardly any troops.
कुछ भी नहीं
And
sir.
a lot of locals are recruited, and they go as conscript. They have local officers and everything. One of the biggest hospitals in Dushanbe is the Russian military hospital. That's why they are so happy that in Kurgan Tepa, near Kurgan Tepa towards the south, we have opened a huge hospital
Yeah,
for them
yeah, yeah.
to the south. It's a massive multi-speciality hospital.
What is the best output that China would want from here? Very interesting question.
China would want to keep control of GB, but they are to keep a buffer so that the overflow of uh, what what they call now themselves Turkestan Islamic Party, ATIM, Eastern Turkestan Islamic Movement, have re-Christianed themselves as Turkestan Islamic Party, and there were 1 to 2 brigades of them which were fighting with with the Russians and Syrians in Syria, and they are hardened fighters who have fought in and with Islamic State. They have fought in Afghanistan. They have fought in Iraq. They have fought in Syria, and at the moment they are based about a brigade worth is what is said is available in Afghanistan, and they're most scared that they might overflow will come from there. That once Pak army has been cut to size or whatever has happened there, they are scared that these people will come. And there are 2 3 bombings where targeted bombings for the Chinese, where ISKP has accepted that they have done it, but what has come out is that the fighters were ATIM.
Huh?
Yeah.
I
The
believe
suicide
the
bombing
bus
was
thing that happened, bus जो नीचे
suicide
गिरी थी ना,
बस भी था वो उनके
कराची वाला.
उसमें. नहीं तो होटल में जो सुसाइड बॉम्बिंग हुआ,
Ah,
दैट
that's what it
बॉम्बर
was.
वाज एतिम.
Hotel and the Karachi Stock Exchange, sir.
Yeah, एतिम. So that is where they are most worried. And so would they like to, but the locals are against them. So they may want to, but will they get it? That's the issue, because like I said, the locals are against them, and the Pakistanis are also not ready to give it off to Chinese. No.
That's the best. That's the best thing. So this one, I must say, is a very interesting question. I mean, two and two, four bolte na. This is what it is. Proud of actually this question. If the major sentiment in Baltistan is with Bharat, the change must not have come without any prod and push. What is being done from our sides?
Arda ji, I am so happy you brought this out. Otherwise, our people are always running down our diplomats and raw. Now, this tells you what kind of work they have been doing.
Yeah,
See, in diplomacy and in especially in intelligence, एल्बर्ट जो कहता है वो करता नहीं है, और जो करता है वो कहता नहीं है. You don't go about
completely.
tom-tom. But a major sentiment also comes up through your soft power.
Yeah,
When they see the kind of life people are living on the other side. Like people may say whatever about, like the politicians may scream and say, no, situation is bad. The best example and living proof of situation having returned almost to normal was Rahul Gandhi and his sister doing running on a snow scooter in Gulmarg and enjoying themselves with minimum security around.
Hardly anybody, sir.
So that tells you a lot. And when they see on their side the kind of atrocities which takes place and this side, so this is not only that prod, it is also the soft power.
Hmm.
When you see life is going around so normal. So in one of my narrative talks also I had said that when you push a narrative like ISI is pushing a narrative and Pak Army that there is so much of trouble that their Muslim brethren are facing in JNK, in India. And then when you see what is going on, how life is progressing, after some time you can't live that lie. Na? The narrative fails. Then you got to bring in a new narrative, which they have no narrative. So this was a classic. This thing, Yana Mir is one Kashmiri woman who shut down the Park chap when he said that why can't we solve this out. She said there is no issue. It is like a girl is married to a man and another man has a one-sided love with that girl goes around tom-tomming to everybody that she's not happy with him and the girl says I'm very happy with him. That is the problem with today with Kashmir and Pakistan. Kashmir is wedded to India as part of the accession deal which all the uh, kings and principalities had signed. Now, if you keep going and tom-tomming and saying that they're not happy, they're not happy. Earlier, you were not linked that digitally. Today, you're linked. It doesn't sell. So, apart from the work of the diplomats, is this soft power.
Why aren't we considering the possibility of Pakistan turning into another Afghanistan?
That will come in the net assessment. ना इसीलिए तो कह रहा हूँ net assessment करो, net assessment करो.
But may I ask you,
Afghanistan,
except for the nuclear
Afghanistan
weapons,
is.
what is
I'm
different in
taking it.
Pakistan?
You're talking of becoming Sharia.
No, forget that. Let's just look at it from a little this thing. Except for the nuclear weapons, what is different in Pakistan and Afghanistan? Nothing.
There's no difference actually. In fact, Afghanistan people might take offense to it because there's no scrounging of all the money by the elites in Afghanistan as it has happened. Earlier hota tha, abhi to hai nahi. I don't see that. They don't run around in huge cars and don't have plots and huge houses all over the world. They would compare it more to Somalia because only a small portion of area is where the RIT runs. Across the Indus, तो RIT तो चलता ही नहीं है उनका. And just imagine Karachi police lines, their main mosque in the police lines. You have such a huge explosion, and after that, the attack on that IG's office in that police lines
But
speaks
Karachi,
volumes.
as it is, has been a divided city. से बड़ा वहाँ पर कचरा
No,
होता
but
रहता
it
है.
speaks volumes, na.
हाँ, वो तो है.
आपके पास मतलब your RIT doesn't run.
Yeah, that is
There was a
there.
time when the RIT didn't run when MQM was in power. फिर वो you broke that out with the heavy deployment of the military and killing so many people. And MQM का boss वो London चला गया. Today it is completely divided. Taliban has so much of space there, and जिसको भी support मिल रहा है, they are sorting them out. So your RIT is essentially within Punjab, and that is also reducing. बलूचिस्तान में चल नहीं रहा है, वजीरिस्तान में चल नहीं रहा है, केपी में चल नहीं रहा है आपका, तो किधर है आपका रिट? तो इट इज एग्जैक्टली लाइक सोमालिया और इवन लिबिया की
Sudan.
जो रिकॉग्नाइज्ड गवर्नमेंट है ट्रिपोली के अराउंड ही चल रहा है, बाकी जगह पे
Somalia, Libya, Sudan, these kind of countries have some mineral worth. कुछ तो worth है उनके अंदर.
यहाँ पे मिनरल वर्थ तो बलूचिस्तान में था.
सर गैस तो खत्म कर रखी है इन लोगों ने. 70-80% they finished the gas already.
खत्म हो गया.
That thing is over. वो बलूचिस्तान ग्वादर को तो दे नहीं पा रहा.
नहीं, they have one big resource. terrorism.
Jihadis.
Yeah, that's the only resource left with them.
Jihadi explode करेंगे बस.
And that is also the concern now, that should
I
we
mean,
take out all nuclear weapons या थोड़ा छोड़ दो, क्या क्या होता है अगर न्यूक्लियर
that's
वेपन जाता है.
exactly what he's asking. What would happen to ISIS once this is achieved?
ISIS is a very funny story. I have a very different perception from it.
So do I.
सीरिया में
Civil.
आईसिस कहाँ से आया? ISIS came in through Turkey, if you please.
And who sent the
Why was
weapons?
Turkey not stopping them? Who supported them? It is the West which turned a blind eye and permitted
Yes.
them to come there.
The Nusra
So the
Front and
rise of
ISIS.
ISIS is as
Yes.
much to the West is as much, including US, is as much to blame.
Yeah. So what
अब वो
blame? I would say they were using these chaps.
correct. So that is the whole issue now. That if Clinton told Pakistanis, Hillary Clinton, that if you keep poisonous snakes, they will bite you. I'm just waiting when ISIS strikes in US. Yeah. Today, ठीक है, ISIS doesn't hold ground, but
Hmm.
radicalization through
Yeah, yeah,
blacknet,
yeah.
blacknet is very easy. Look at all the lone wolf attacks that are taking place in US and other places. Muslim counter, counter, कुछ ना कुछ चलता जा रहा है. Amongst the many that they are doing, where their own psychiatric cases have all these assault weapons and they are firing. So yeah, I'm not as worried about ISIS as having a Sharia state bordering you. So I'm
ISIS.
still okay with Pakistan. I'm looking at Sindh because it would have a bordering state with Balochistan. Which way does Balochistan go? At least एक buffer आ जाता है आपके पास, and that was what I was looking at Gilgit Baltistan. Though any Wakhan corridor is has very little population, not
You know,
much, and
I
they are
have a little
Kyrgyz.
bit.
You'll be surprised, they are Kyrgyz there. The people living in Wakhan corridor are Kyrgyz. कहाँ से कहाँ आए हो? There are
मेरे
no
को एक
Kyrgyz in the intervening Gorno-Badakhshan
बीच में.
province of
But
Tajikistan.
so that area is as it is very badly divided with these enclaves and
No,
this,
what
that.
I'm saying is Kyrgyzstan ऊपर है, उसके नीचे ताजिकिस्तान का mountainous Badakhshan, which is Gorno
Yeah.
in Russian is mountainous, is the mountainous Badakhshan autonomous region where there are no Kyrgyz out there. Immediately bordering it in Xinjiang is the Tashkorgan province, which is Tajik. Yet across all these, you have a small population of Kyrgyz who stay there in the Wakhan corridor.
I
Ishkashin,
mean,
which is the mouth of Wakhan, and then coming into, they're all Kyrgyz tribes.
correct, sir. As a matter of fact, ISIS का मेरा तो सर मानना बड़ा simple है. ISIS was created so that they could go and hit Assad and
Yeah,
get Syria down. It went out of hand, just like the Taliban went out of hand in Afghanistan. Exactly the same thing. When he went out of hand, Bakr al-Baghdadi, the first guy, you took him out.
you took it.
Then it just simmered, took some land here and there. You started bombing him, but you were not bombing him. You were bombing his supply lines and this and that and all that. The Russians came in, bloody blew them apart, leveled the entire cities, ripped them apart. That's how the ISIS went away. And today, even today, in a city in Syria, in central Syria, they still control a minor town. And it seems that they've been stealing oil and selling it to the Americans for weapons. I am not
So,
joking.
no,
This is
but
stuff which is
worry,
coming out. I mean, I can't prove
worry
it.
is more of shift towards Sharia.
Yeah,
And
I
you
can't
see,
prove this, but this is what is happening. I mean,
and this is what the Pakistan army is slowly facing now, where more and more men are refusing to fight them and openly saying that why are you asking us to fight them? All they are asking is for Sharia. What is wrong?
Sharia.
So that is what they have been taught through their childhood. As you sow, so you reap. bulk of the people who are coming into the Pak army, and I'm not talking of only soldiers, even officers, come from these government schools. And government schools are, this is what is being taught. And so then when you're told to go and fight him, he doesn't want to fight. Because you've been taught right through that Sharia is good. And these people are mujahids and jihadis and they are our heroes. Now you tell them to fight them. अभी शुरू हुआ है. 5,000 people had left from the frontier constabulary. You may say frontier constabulary, but फौज से ही गए थे. So if that happens and then slowly that comes up, then another 5-10 years down the line, what do? These things, what is going on in nations, don't happen overnight.
Builds. Yeah, it
It
builds.
builds up over a period of time. Just imagine, they went into Iraq in 2003, and we are talking now almost 20 years down the line, and we are seeing that map which I showed you, those things emerging and evolving out there. 20 साल तो पाकिस्तान में भी अभी आए हैं. अब ये 20 साल बाद जब ये होगा तो what happens to the Pakistan army? And that is the concern I feel, that most of these nations, India included, are looking that 10 years, 15 years down the line, what happens to the nuclear warheads? Because it is these soldiers only now who are guarding.
Yeah.
So the security of your warheads, and that, my assessment, is why the first visit of, and I'm sure there'll be many more, and that is why the first visit of IAEA has taken place. इसके पहले नहीं हुआ था IAEA का visit अभी तक पाकिस्तान.
नहीं, उनके officials आते हैं सर, which they come to every country to check the reactors and stuff like that for safety. They are not supposed to check your weapon production and all that.
पूरा चेक करने आए हैं ना.
They're supposed to check
And this
safety.
will be the, वो तो
Any new
annually
package.
आते हैं. नहीं,
हाँ.
They come to those which you declare to IAEA, and they come that these are for civilian purposes.
Civilian
they
use.
come to see the security part. Those which you have not given it open to them, they can't come.
They can't.
But this is not that annual visit. This is a separate visit.
And the head of IAEA, what the hell is he doing here?
So they'll be the first of many more, and so everybody is concerned around the world.
Chalo, so let's wind this thing down with some two very great compliments, and I believe this, sir. General sir's anecdotes are great to listen to. That is one, and the second, the way General sir explains various issues is easy to grasp and understand. I agree with that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Honestly, guys, मैं सर के साथ सर को कभी-कभार तो रोज-रोज फोन कर करके तंग करता हूँ कि यार ये समझाओ, वो समझाओ. मेरे दिमाग में जो भी आता है मैं बोलता हूँ सर अब बताओ इसका क्या है, सेंस बनाओ इसका कुछ.
Yeah, because we do have a long chats on various.
But sir, see, we've been able to piece together so many little things.
Yes.
This whole episode.
I have lived my life. I need to pass it on. This is what I had been taught in my unit, which is called passing it on. And pass it on in as simple a language as people can understand what I'm trying to tell. If I can't explain it, then कोई फायदा नहीं है. Because जैसे मैंने कहा, as nations come, it takes more than 20 years for these to happen. I'm already 65. Every day is a bonus. So what will happen is going to happen in your time. The younger lot, 30s, 40s, you will see it. And so I have given you a concept of net assessment. Do go on the net, read, study any such major issues that you need. As a nation, you need to take a call. You have to do your net assessment. In that, you give your strategies and you give your periodicity. Every 5 years, check. Why every 5 years? You can't take one line and keep going. So you got to modify. Like US has taken a strategy. I'm sure they have done the net assessment. They were the country who started with the net assessment. Andrew Marshall was the father of net assessment. So they identify which are the areas. They thought maybe Yemen, Saudi Arabia may be amenable, but अभी वहाँ पे ज़्यादा कुछ कर नहीं रहे हैं. And they have slowly found that Afghanistan, Pakistan area was prime, and it is actually working out in that manner which they want. So your time you will see all this. So be careful.
No, sir. I mean, see, the deal is, when we talk about these kind of things, it is away from the rhetoric. It is a whole lot.
टीवी में शोर शराबा कर लो, उससे
हाँ,
कुछ नहीं
टीवी में भी नहीं सर. Even in, I mean, I'm not trying to say mine is the best channel and everything like that. मैं यार देखो ऐसा नहीं है. But I am quite sad with the kind of strategic analysis, so-called, which happens on even on YouTube, which is supposed to be the alternative to the
That's
regular
okay.
media.
See, ठीक है, we may have strong views on the quality. That's how it starts.
वो भी है
That's how
सर.
it starts.
वो भी
At
है
least
सर.
it started.
वो भी है. एब्सोल्युटली एग्री विद यू. बिकॉज वो 16-18 साल वाले थोड़ा सा जोश में आके फिर वो सोचना शुरू करते हैं, फिर बोलते हैं यार कुछ और ढूंढते हैं, कुछ और रिसर्च करते हैं. दे विल कम टू दैट
वो
लेवल व्हिच इज.
आराम से आएगा, आराम से आएगा.
या. I mean, this is an interesting comment. Up to Afghanistan, it was India centuries ago.
Not just Afghanistan, southern Tajikistan. Please remember the most of Southeast Asia, Cambodia, Laos, and right up to central Vietnam was India, Bharat. This was your spread, because the concept of Bharat was not like a nation state or something like this. Uh, these were all similar culturally. All these areas culturally was similar. You had various kingdoms, and various regions had their chakravartis who
Yeah,
controlled various areas and managed affairs between the chakravartis. The kingdom of Champa, which was there in central and south Vietnam, finally fell in 1839. How many of you have read it in history? अपने school book में ही नहीं लिखा.
सर
It
आधे लोगों को
fell.
अहोम के बारे में नहीं पता.
It
One
fell
of the
to the
longest. Yeah,
North Vietnamese and the portions of Yunnan area, and this was Dai Viet.
correct.
And they came and then they captured these areas.
People don't know about
So,
Ahom, sir. I mean,
yeah,
Ahom
yeah. Homes
kingdoms.
have come from Thailand. They are actually from the Chinese side. They came into
Yeah,
Thailand, and then from there, they have come in through North Myanmar, and then they came into India.
and some people turned around and said they were not Hindus. I said, भैया
And they,
जाके वहां
all
पर
of them
टेम्पल
came
देखो.
here like this. They are hardcore Shaivites, bhai.
उनके
Devi and
टेम्पल्स देखो
Shaivite.
सर. बाप रे बाप दे.
Kamakhya temple.
Yeah,
Kamakhya temple.
beautiful.
It is
Fantastic.
there. Kamakhya temple has been there even before the Ahoms came. But
Yes, sir.
look at their devotion.
Yeah.
Look at their devotion.
Yeah, because they conquered that temple, and the king who was running that temple, they made it grander.
Yeah. It's so massive. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've been there 2-3 times. Kamakhya temple. And normal day में कितना crowd आता है वहाँ पे. So it's all Shaivism and there, and one standout is Manipur, where you have Vaishnavites.
Vaishnavites.
Yeah, and the way they dance, oh, उनका painting जो आता है, the way they dance, it's a very क्या बोलते हैं उसको, rapid sort of a, there is a word they use for it, and it flows beautifully, that dance. The Meitei valley में जो रहते हैं, they are Vaishnavites.
Sir, thank you so much. I mean, this has been a great episode. मजा आ गया. We've had, I think, one of the highest live viewings. We crossed 440 at a
Oh,
time.
wow. Oh,
So one
thank
of
you,
the
sir.
highest.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
And guys, I'm grateful to all of you guys. Just again, I'm going to say this last request. Please, 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 before falling off to sleep, touch the like button. Just click. That's all it takes. इतना सा है और कुछ नहीं मांग रहा मैं. Because it really helps the YouTube algorithm for the thing to reach a higher audience. And these kind of discussions is something that we need to have in our country. जो सर बोल रहे हैं नेट असेसमेंट, दैट इज व्हाट इट इज. वी नीड टू थिंक अबाउट दीज थिंग्स वेरी केयरफुली. Not off the cuff shooting, not anything else. Research, come up with these things. If you guys want, please let me know in tomorrow, day after's programs. You all have my email address down in the description. If you want to do a follow up on this, I'll be glad to get sir again, and we'll do another follow up on this to, you know, try and do an assessment ourselves here. But sir, thank you so much for that lovely, lovely talk. I think
Thank you.
it's an eye opener. Thank you, sir, and Jai
Thank
Hind.
you. Thank you. Jai Hind.